Where is America's First Lady? It's a question echoing around the world, and the answer might shock you more than you think. While Donald Trump commands headlines daily from the Oval Office, his wife Melania has virtually vanished from public view, spending less than a month at the White House since January's inauguration. But is this just a preference for privacy, or is there something much deeper going on behind the gilded doors of America's most powerful residence? Picture this. You're married to the most powerful person on the planet, living in the most famous house in America, yet you choose to be anywhere but there. That's exactly what's happening with Melania Trump right now, and political insiders are whispering theories that range from calculated strategy to complete marital breakdown. Let's dive into what we actually know. Since Trump's second inauguration on January 20th, Melania has made only a handful of public appearances. Remember that striking moment at the swearing-in ceremony? She wore that massive, wide-brimmed hat that completely shadowed her eyes, almost like she was hiding in plain sight. Fashion experts and body language analysts immediately jumped on this, suggesting it wasn't just a style choice, but a deliberate statement. But here's where it gets really interesting. Trump biographer Michael Wolff, the man who spent years studying this family's dynamics, recently made a bombshell claim that's sending shockwaves through political circles. When he asked someone close to the Trump family about Melania's absence, their response was brutally direct and completely unprintable on most platforms. The implication? That behind closed doors, this marriage might be nothing like what we see in public. Now, you might be wondering why anyone would stay in a marriage they supposedly hate. But think about the complexity here. We're not talking about your average couple having relationship problems. This is the first family of the United States, where every move is scrutinized, every decision has political implications, and every public moment becomes a piece of American history. The timeline tells a fascinating story. Melania gave birth to their son Barron in March 2006. Just months later, according to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, Trump allegedly had that infamous encounter that would later lead to criminal charges. Fast forward to May 2024, and Trump becomes the first president in American history to be a convicted felon, specifically for falsifying business records to hide hush money payments related to that very incident. Imagine being Melania, watching your husband's alleged infidelity become not just tabloid fodder, but actual criminal court proceedings broadcast worldwide. The fashion choices tell their own story. And this is where it gets really intriguing. Former CNN reporter Kate Bennett, who's made a career of decoding First Lady fashion, suggests that every outfit Melania chooses is deliberate. That bright pink blouse when scandal broke, the all-white suit during a particularly difficult news cycle, these aren't random choices. In the world of political wives, fashion becomes a language, and Melania might be speaking volumes through her wardrobe. But let's talk about that moment that went viral worldwide and still gives us chills. May 2017, Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. The President of the United States reaches for his wife's hand in front of international cameras, and she literally swats him away. The entire world watched America's First Lady publicly reject her husband's gesture of affection. Melania later tried to explain it away in her memoir, claiming the red carpet was too narrow for 4 people. But come on, we all saw what we saw, and body language doesn't lie. This brings us to the current situation that has everyone talking. Where exactly is Melania Trump spending her time? Sources suggest she's splitting her schedule between 3 locations: minimal time at the White House, extended stays at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, and frequent trips to New York City where their son Barron attends NYU. Notice the pattern? She's choosing to be anywhere except where her husband is conducting the business of running America. Michael Wolff isn't backing down from his explosive claims either. During a recent podcast appearance, he doubled down, stating flatly that the Trumps don't live together and are never together. That's not speculation from a gossip columnist. That's from a journalist who's had unprecedented access to the Trump inner circle for years. The White House response was swift and predictably aggressive. Communications Director Stephen Chung fired back with typical Trump administration flair, calling Wolff names and accusing him of having what they termed derangement syndrome. But here's the thing about non-denial denials. They often reveal more than they hide. Notice they attacked the messenger but didn't actually deny the core claim about the marriage. What makes this story even more compelling is the historical context. This isn't new behavior for Melania. During Trump's first presidency from 2017 to 2021, she was notably absent from many traditional First Lady duties and public appearances. She famously delayed moving to the White House for months, citing Barron's schooling. But now, with Barron in college and no young children to consider, what's her excuse this time? The public fascination with this story reveals something deeper about American politics and celebrity culture. We're obsessed with authenticity, especially from our leaders and their families. When we sense something isn't genuine, when the fairy tale doesn't match reality, we become investigative journalists in our own right, analyzing every photo, every gesture, every absence. Social media has become a battlefield of theories. Some users joke about contractual obligations and appearance fees. Others suggest Melania is counting down days until she can escape entirely. The more conspiracy-minded wonder if this is all calculated political theater designed to distract from other issues. But perhaps the most telling comments come from those who simply don't care, who argue that America has bigger problems than the First Lady's marriage, and they might have a point. While we're dissecting Melania's absence, the country faces massive challenges. Immigration policies are creating protests in major cities. Economic uncertainty looms. International relations require constant attention. Yet, here we are, captivated by a marriage that might be more performance art than partnership. But maybe that's exactly why this story matters so much. In an era where political authenticity feels increasingly rare, the Trump marriage has become a symbol of something larger. If the first family can't maintain the pretense of unity, what does that say about the state of American institutions? If the people asking us to trust them with the country can't trust each other enough to live in the same house, should we be concerned? The psychological aspect is fascinating too. Imagine being Melania Trump right now. You've lived through your husband's first presidency, witnessed the chaos, the scandals, the criminal trials. You've seen your private life dissected by the global media. You've watched your husband become one of the most polarizing figures in modern American history. At what point does self-preservation override duty? At what point does personal happiness become more important than political appearance? Here's what we know for certain. Melania Trump is making choices that prioritize her own well-being and that of her son over traditional expectations of a president's wife. Whether that's admirable independence or evidence of a deeper problem depends entirely on your perspective. The timing of her limited appearances is also telling. That rare Mother's Day reception appearance at the White House in May felt more like a commanded performance than a natural presence. The body language experts had a field day with that footage, noting the physical distance, the lack of natural interaction, the sense that two people were occupying the same space without truly being together. What happens next might be the most intriguing part of this entire saga. Presidential terms last 4 years. Will Melania maintain this pattern of minimal engagement for the entire term? Will she eventually return to more traditional First Lady duties? Or are we witnessing the slow-motion dissolution of one of America's most high-profile marriages playing out on the world stage? The international perspective adds another layer to this story. Foreign dignitaries and their spouses expect to interact with America's First Lady at state dinners and diplomatic events. When she's consistently absent, it sends a message about American leadership and stability that goes far beyond personal relationships. So where does this leave us? We're watching a real-time experiment in how much authenticity the American public can handle from their first family. We're seeing what happens when traditional political theater meets modern media scrutiny and personal agency. We're witnessing a woman who seems to have decided that her own peace of mind matters more than public expectation. The question that started this entire discussion, where is Melania Trump, might actually be the wrong question. Maybe we should be asking why we expect someone to sacrifice their personal happiness for political appearances. Maybe we should be questioning whether the traditional role of First Lady makes sense in 2025. Or maybe we should be wondering what it says about our democracy when the president's own wife chooses to be anywhere but by his side. Whatever the truth behind Melania's absence, one thing is crystal clear. The fairy tale of the perfect political marriage is dead, and we're all watching the aftermath unfold in real time. The only question now is whether this story ends with reconciliation, resignation, or something else entirely. And honestly, the whole world is watching to find out.